Manchester United 1, Crystal Palace 1. Really, really disappointing tonight. I think the 3 points were there for the taking, considering we was 1-0 up. And we were just too passive. Even in the first half, even though we get a goal, it just wasn't good enough. Manchester United just didn't attack today. We didn't attack. We didn't start attacking or playing with any intensity or purpose until we conceded the free kick in the 90th minute. It just wasn't good enough. And actually, it's just a reminder to us as fans that obviously we're going to suffer blips and that this team, the level of the intensity and the level of performance is going to keep rising and falling. That's just how it is. And Erik ten Hag even said it against Manchester City. He said he was not happy. You know, obviously celebrate the win, etc. It was a good comeback. But the same theme happened in terms of not raising our level. I thought Palace didn't offer much today. And we had an element of control over the game. But when you say that and you look at the chances that were created or lack of for Manchester United and the couple for Palace, David De Gea is the one who has to make the saves. You know, he makes a really good save, I think, from Mateta and tips that onto the bar, which was a fantastic save in the first half. He makes a good save, I think he makes a save. I was right down the other end, but I think he made a save from a header. And obviously he couldn't do anything about the free kick. And I look at Gaeta and I'm like, well, he conceded the first goal from Bruno. And other than that, we didn't trouble him all game. It just was not good enough. If I speak about individuals, attacking-wise, I thought Anthony's just been absolutely way off it, especially today. Not taking on players, being really predictable. I always say it's a good thing that he works hard off the ball, which is why he probably gets the nod. But offensively, he has to improve. He's far too predictable. You know exactly what he's going to do before he gets the ball at the moment. Barring when he's got a little bit of space and you let him cut inside and find that far post. There doesn't seem to be much there at this present time. He needs time. The team needs time, and it will happen. But I can only judge it off what I've seen tonight and obviously what I've seen of him. And he's not going past players. He's not giving us enough. Rashi today, this is his first. I think tonight was his first bad game in a little while. You know, you can't expect him to always be at it, but his level dropped way below par today. He just wasn't taking on Klein. Old habits creeping in. His decision making wasn't quite there. And it looked a little bit like, not the old Rashford, that's probably a little bit too harsh, but look, it's as simple as this, he just had an off game. I think Wout Weghorst, it was probably a difficult game for him to come into, not because Palace was so good and it was a really tough away day, but because the team wasn't functioning. We gave him scraps, we wasn't fluent, we didn't create enough chances for him. He kept it neat, he kept it tidy, but apart from that, he didn't really have much involvement in the game because we couldn't get him involved in the game. And that was something that was a common theme throughout all of our attackers. I think Eriksen, Bruno combined well for the goal. But again, other than that, we couldn't keep it going. And I think we'll be bitterly disappointed with that. I think if you're going to play like that and nick a goal at the end of the first half, you have to be solid and you have to make sure you don't concede. Now, don't get me wrong, Michael Olise's free kick was absolutely unbelievable. I've only seen it once, but from where I was, it looked like it went in the top corner and David De Gea could do absolutely nothing about it. But the question marks have to be on us. I thought Palace were really poor today. They were really poor. And I say that, saying like what I said earlier, that they actually made David De Gea work. But we had an element of control over the game. I thought we won the ball back quick. Crystal Palace were giving us the ball back quickly. Second half, they were a little bit better. I agree with that. But the onus is on us, you know, especially at 1-0, you know, go and kill the game. And it wasn't until the 90th minute when Olise scores, that was the only time when we started playing with a little bit of intensity, started to move the ball a little bit quicker. And Casemiro, to be fair, I don't know how we didn't score that. That's another thing. Casemiro now missing for the Arsenal game as well. That's going to be a massive miss. Could you accuse the players or could you label at the players' doorstep that they had one eye on the Arsenal game? You know, look, us as fans have been talking about that. And in the preview with Rich from Eagle Eye Football, I did say that. I said, Manchester United and us as fans, we can't afford to just be looking at the Arsenal game because you've got to play Palace midweek. And if you take your eye off the ball, you get beat here or you drop points. And that's what happened. Not, again, because Palace were particularly brilliant, because I don't think they were. But all the question marks about our own game and the intensity and just the willingness to attack, we just didn't do it. We brought on Garnacho, couldn't get him into the game as well. So it is frustrating. But at the end of the day, it is a small blip. At the end of the day, you're looking at where we are as a team, and there are positive signs. Because we've drawn here tonight, that doesn't mean we can't put in a good performance against Arsenal. Because Casemiro's not playing, that also doesn't mean we can't put in a good performance against Arsenal. Or obviously, it will be harder without him, but it doesn't mean that we have no chance. One thing that we have seen from this team is that any time we've we've suffered a little setback, well, some major setbacks in embarrassing ways against City, against Brentford, against Aston Villa. Whenever those setbacks have happened, and this is a more minor one in terms of drawing, whenever they've happened, we've bounced back. And you could argue that actually that's the right type of wake-up call you need going into that Arsenal game. Because I tell you what, if you play like that against Arsenal, not even just the second half, the first half, even when we score, if you play like that against Arsenal, we'll get absolutely wiped the floor with easily. And that's the difference. And today was actually a bit of a measuring stick as well. I know we've been getting excited about this team, and we're looking at the table and saying, well, if Man City are in a title race, so are we, etc., etc. And again, I'm not trying to take away people's, excitement, but this was a little bit of a leveler, because I think the well-polished teams, if that was Arsenal here tonight, they would have beat them 3 or 4-0 with ease, because they're well-oiled and their tempo doesn't drop and their intensity doesn't drop. I think we're a little bit difficult to predict how long we're going to keep our intensity high for, which is a natural step, because we're early in Ten Hag's reign and we're early in the development of this team. So for me, disappointing. And we need to show more against Arsenal. Defensively, though, I do want to big up some players defensively. It was hot. Wan-Bissaka was really, really good. Second half, okay, he gave away a couple of balls. He wasn't absolutely flawless, but he wasn't far off flawless. And he's absolutely got his game back. He looks tactically more aware. He looks tactically more composed. The positions he's taken up on the field as like an inverted right back, at times, he's really come on leaps and bounds. And actually, he stops us losing the game, because Zaha's clean through when we get a little bit gung-ho. And, one thing you can label with Wan-Bissaka is that nobody gets past, and in one-on-one duels, he must have like a 90-95% completion or successful duels, because you just don't get past the guy. But he was really good. I thought Luke Shaw was strong today. I thought the whole back line was absolutely fine today, and that's what will be frustrating, because like I said, although Palace weren't great, they made De Gea work more than we made Guy to work. And that's the problem. That's exactly the issue with our performance today. And I think Erik ten Hag will be absolutely fuming with that. But listen, roll on Arsenal. This is why I've curbed that kind of title talk. And I said on the show the other day, forget about that. It's not about that. I think when we can be in touching distance, yeah, we can dare to dream. And, I'm not saying you can't dare to dream now, but it's very much about logical steps with this team, small increments, small improvements, and doing the things we need to do to become a better outfit, a better unit. And we've already seen that. Night tonight doesn't undo all the hard work we've done. We shouldn't panic. We should still be proud of this team. We should still be happy that we're going in the right direction, but we should also be aware that we're still far off where we want to be. Yeah, we are still far off where we want to be. My man in the match tonight, it's difficult. Don't really like doing it when we haven't won. But I'm going to give it to Wan-Bissaka, actually. I think he was good. And the fact that I'm giving it to a defender probably shows, attacking-wise, that we didn't have much to do. But listen, roll on Arsenal. Massive game. Need the W.